Hello Gwenters, and welcome for a quick update of Gwent today. I apologize for my video being a little bit late. Like I said before, I'm kind of going through some personal stuff, but it's getting worked out. We're going to get back on this horse, and we're going to be having some fun times in Gwent soon. Part of that personal stuff is getting my PC rig totally up and running. And I will say this, for only having played the Gwent on mobile, which is a ton of fun and you should do, playing it on PC is a whole different ball game, especially if you're using a really nice graphics card that you just invested a bunch of money in. So I am enjoying that. The world is basically out of stream cams, so I'm trying to figure out a different solution for that in the meantime. But please be patient with me as we get up to that. But I wanted to interrupt this for just a very quick update. Skellige has been nerfed. Let's get to that. So, if you see in this Twitter post from Play Gwent, they are tweaking Skellige since it is still too oppressive after recent changes. Concrete Blacksmith going from 4 to 5 provisions. Honestly, I'm fine with this either way. I don't think it was a big game changer. You can remove a 4-point card pretty easily. It's just a question of like whether or not your deck had sufficient removal or not. Stunning Blow going from 7 to 6 damage. This is insufficient in my opinion. Its ability to remove a Carrack frigate just because the Carrack frigate has 1 armor is broken. I really think that needs to be reworked. I think that the fix that needed to happen to Stunning Blow was not this reduction in damage, but instead needed to be a provision increase from 4 to 5. I think Gutting Slash is already a pretty good card. I think the ability to utilize Gutting Slash with Patricidal Fury with the Bloodthirst is good enough, and that it's already a pretty solid 6-point damage card. Now Stunning Blow and Gutting Slash basically are equivalent, just depending on when you want to use the leader ability and how far you are into a round. I don't think that is a good or accurate way to play the game. I also think that it's not a great way of creating internal balance for the deck, especially when you now have 2 raid cards that are good removal, right? So you have Stunning Blow for those who just want to see this, so damage the unit by 4 if it has armor, increased damage to 6. Gutting Slash, Bloodthirst of 2, damage the unit by 6 instead. So I mean, you just kind of have, these are basically the same card, both for 4 provisions, and you just would be able to play them at different times in a round for 6 points of damage and removal on a 4-point card, and they can both be tutored by Vobjorn. So I think that for me is not a very good fix. I think that needs to be changed. Again, I think that Stunning Blow should be a 5 provision cost card because of its removal. And you've seen me go on my rant about just about Tourney Joust. I think Tourney Joust should be very similar. I think the value of a shield is 1 point, and the 4 points of damage is equal to 4 points when it's pure removal, and therefore it needs to be changed to 5 provision as well. But that is just me. This Blood Eagle increase of provision costs from 10 to 11 is good. I think that it should be more equal to Amphibious Assault. Personally, I think that it should be a 12 provision cost card, though I can see why this would actually be accurate. I say we let this one play out. I'm not going to lose my mind over it. Harald, I actually think Harald, I know a lot of people are mad about this. I think Harald was working. I think the ability to resurrect a warrior was pretty good. But he is a mandatory late game card because his first round play is worthless. You have to have had one of your units killed off in order to get it, or discarded, and then it gets damaged by 2, and it can just create a lot of problems for you internally. Whereas like Oberon actually plays decently in round 1, especially if you have riders. Then you can actually just proc a rider and get those from your deck, and that's a pretty meaty first round play. Ethne is not bad. Jacques Miraculous Child, if you have watched my Collusion deck, he actually is pretty good tempo in round 1 to get those Firesworn spawns with Fallen Knight. So those, I think that there actually is a decent balance there. I think that pushing out Skellige in round 2 and really beating the drum with that is kind of difficult. I think the change to Second Wind helps make that a little bit more viable, where they aren't as willing or readily able to spend their best cards in round 1 or even round 2, makes it so that you can do a little bit more with them. So I think that that's a good change. I think that Harald, honestly, in my opinion, for those reasons, just needs to be played around a little bit better. And I don't think we need to think of this as like, oh, he's so OP, we have to play around him, because it's honestly, in my opinion, not as strong as Vincent. Vincent's ability to remove in tandem with Yen's invocation is broken. I mean, it's a broken mechanic. Harald doesn't have that kind of broken level in all 3 rounds. Now, in round 3, if you have gone into a long war with Skellige, they're probably going to kick your butt in round 3. That's just going to happen. And I think that I kind of like that. Honestly, I kind of do. And he plays really well in a thick round 3. He plays really well in a really tiny round 3 with only 3 cards. So you kind of, if you are pushed into a round 3 with him, you do kind of want like a medium number of cards, or to have, and I think that this is a really good inclusion, a scenario, right? And I think there could be some more changes to scenarios to make them more balanced, but we're seeing some greedy siege scenarios working really well. Masquerade Ball has always been OP. I think that you have to purify Harald, but you can kill a bunch of other stuff too. So anyway, a bunch of good options there. I'm interested to see how this works. I don't think this is going to be game changing. I don't think it needed to be. Huge problem here with Wild Boar of the Sea. They have just improved the card, right? So let's come back over here. Wild Boar was always the best row damage card in Skellige for certain, but I would say probably in the game, Tin Boy would be its only competitor. Tin Boy does do 2 damage across the board, but it doesn't do it doesn't proc the damage instances individually, and you do have to have 8 coins of tribute in order to pay for Tin Boy. So I think that they are pretty on par in that way, but now Wild Boar is only 11 provisions. And I mean, you do have to have damaged the unit to do the extra second damage, but it's just going to continue to do what it's always done and synergize especially well with Great Swords and, in my opinion, its best synergy companion, Dagger Two Blades. So I think, just to kind of wrap up this video, obviously I had a Patricidal Fury deck. I haven't been playing all that much in the last few days just because it felt wrong to play Skellige as it was so broken. And I know I probably should have just pushed up ladder and gone into pro, but I like to play the game for fun, and when I feel like I'm cheating, I don't feel so good about it. But let's just jump into this. So basically, Patricidal Fury, if you were using blacksmiths, you can't use them anymore. But otherwise, you got, you can basically just use your same deck because not much else changed other than you need to figure out this one provision. But you otherwise, if you weren't running Blood Eagle, for example, and you were running Wild Boar, the loss of this one provision is going to be saved from Wild Boar. So I don't think that there is a lot that is going on here. And so I've made some comments here. People have responded. I think check out Twitter. Follow me in the link description above. See what I had to say. But I think my biggest problem here is just that this deck still is going to have the same auto includes, and I'm just going to kind of just run you guys through what I think the auto include cards are. For me, everybody's going to have different opinions, but for me, same auto includes. Blood Eagle, Vabjorn is an excellent tutor. Champion's Charge is just really good with Bloodthirst of 3. You get the automatic kill with Patricidal Fury, so long as you can proc the 3 Harpies. One War of Clans. I actually really like Trophy Catch. I think it's underappreciated. I think row stacking is still a thing, and your ability to do a bunch of damage in a late round is important, but this is also a cheaper way of getting that row movement than you would with Hammond, which can be really valuable in a short round as well, depending on row-based units. And then Stunning Blow is still ridiculously good. I mean, you're still going to want to include it. You're still going to be able to kill Temerian Drummers with it offhand, even if they're boosted. You're still going to be able to kill Carrack Frigates when they get posted up, because they are 4 points of value with 1 armor. And I think that just needs to be changed. This needs to be a 5 provision cost card. But we are where we are. Like, why is Primal Savagery 5? But it's only 4. I guess you do get the 6-point proc if you do get the death blow, but a 2-point death blow is kind of hard to line up except against Fire Swarm right now. So anyway, I think those are the auto includes as far as raids go, and then I think you just come down and you just auto include a few other cards. Now I first off would just type in Warrior because I think that that's the best way to go. A lot of people really do love Hemdall. I would not call Hemdall an auto include, but I think you put in Harald. I think right now Madmon Lugos is really good, very strong. He's a great option. Herkia is very good. Oh, and the other thing too is like the Herkia, like Egmund, I forget her name, but each of the Aparian Phantom, each of the factions got these cards. Dooney, you know, all of these cards that were 4 value, 1 armor, they're still all easily removable by Stunning Blow. So, and then like I said before earlier in the video, you can use Gutting Slash if you're in a longer run and you've already damaged people. So those are very good. I think this is basically and then Skjordal is excellent removal value in round 3. Skjal I actually like just as much as some people like the Totem. I think he plays very similarly. If you do 4 damage to one of them right up front, they die off, so they can't get to 6 points. If you do 5 damage to him, he dies off. So I think there's actually a lot of parity, and he is fewer points. Just gives you a quick out in round 1. And then these on-crate warriors, you just want to include one of them with War of Clans because they will proc that 3 damage right away. It can be really valuable, which gets you obviously this is devotion, so you get the death blow, so you can do 2 damage and then 3 more damage with the on-crate warrior, which gets you 5 damage with 3 points of your own value on the board as a warrior. And if you had Harald as part of that, goes up 1 more damage as well. So here are in my opinion these are the auto include cards. And then I think now with its buff, because it is a buff and we should stop lying about it any other way, Wild Boar needs to be an auto include as well at only 11 provisions. So I think basically you can use this deck and just make any changes you want to it and still have a very OP, really powerful Skellige deck that's still going to get you a bunch of wins. Now, I have long said it's Skellige's turn. Skellige has been trashed for a really long time. They haven't had a lot of tempo other than like the Lippy Flip, which is really draw dependent. They haven't had the best removal synergy. But now with this deck, I mean, it's just very good. And I think the thing that needs to be fixed, in my opinion, is less of let's nerf it into the ground and more of we need to rethink the game and redo the balance of removal and card synergy. And I think that there just needs to be a little bit more thought about how exactly that's going to work. And I don't think that there is a quick fix. I think the value of removal right now just outweighs the value of engines. And that's why I think so many people who love Northern Realms have been so frustrated for so long, because it is more difficult to get that synergy on the board, to play it out in a round, and to also avoid the second round bleed in a consistent way. So I think until we can figure out how to work those together, we're just going to be continually nerfing and buffing decks without a clear picture of how exactly we want things to end. But please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please subscribe for more content, and thank you guys so much, and get out there and keep on gwenting.